Señorita Blanco, dear sister, and today we're reading Saturnastra Melina. This is chapter 8, Melina's birthday. Larcero stood up and he picked up his mace, and shockingly he said to his opponent, "Do you so fealty to the famous Melina Soto? Never. My household would lose honor if I so fealty to a common whore," said Sir Walter. "It's your funeral," said Sailor, raising his mace to smash his opponent's head into a bloody pulp. Before he struck down, Melina yelled, "Stop, please don't kill him." "What?" said Lord Sailor, glaring at Melina. "If the poor fool is so obsessed about his honor, then the right thing to do would be to allow him to commit seppuku," said Melina, smiling. Lord Sailor repeated the word seppuku, not understanding what it meant. "It is just a fancy word for ritualized offing oneself. The guy stabs himself in the belly with a knife until he dies, and the more stab wounds he gives himself, the more honor his family gains," explained Melina. "That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard," said Lord Sailor. "So it is the concept of honor in this world," said Melina. "In the absence of a centralized government, honor was necessary for keeping a semblance of peace. But now, with our beloved lords, are codes of honor really necessary?" "Fine, I will spare that thing's life, if it pleases you," said Lord Sailor, walking away. A group of healers then entered the arena to carry Sir Walter away on a stretcher, and when he was gone, Lord Sailor said, "As per the rules of trial by combat, Melina has been declared innocent, and for Sir Williams, he will be posthumously charged with rape and blasphemy, blackmail, treason, and tax evasion, and all other properties tied to his name will be confiscated by the state." After hearing this, the Hollow family naturally made an attempt on Melina's life, and all of the 17 men who had come to Melina's trial were incinerated in an instant, and when the smoke cleared, Melina's little Baron was standing before her with his hands outstretched. And despite not having any official training, Baron had a strong control over his powers, and he managed not to burn any of Melina's party, and Melina sat her Baron on her knees, and she hugged him, and after kissing him on the cheek, she said, "It wasn't necessary for you to do this. But they were going to hurt you, and I wasn't going to let that happen," said Baron sternly. Melina got up carrying Baron, and then she said to her queen, "I am going to put Baron to bed, and it is past his bedtime, and he gets grouchy and watching when he doesn't get enough sleep." "Sure, put the little demon to bed. It is past his bedtime," said Impede, yawning. "Another thing," said Melina, see to it that Sir Walter is treated with the utmost of care, and do not let any harm come to those unfortunate enough to be related to him. And let's go, Franny." And when Melina was leaving, Impede commented, "You worry about such trivial things, Melina." Melina dropped out of the picture altogether for half a year, and she seemed to be maintaining a low profile to wait for people to forget about the trial's unpleasant business. And with the coming of spring, a strange sense of normalcy returned to Sassari, and during this time, Impede was trying to initiate Melina, and she wanted to use her as a prophetess, and through her boost La Divina clan's influence over the kingdom. Unfortunately for Impede, Melina was unwilling to play such a dishonest role, and in the end, Impede allowed Melina to profess whatever religion she desired, which was unusual at the time. As Melina once said, "You can force a person to worship a certain god, but it's impossible to force a person to truly believe." In any case, she had doubts that Mio existed or that she was even a goddess, and yet she chose not to openly worship anything. And to make matters worse, Melina did not do any religious rites, and whenever anyone asked about what god she worshipped, Melina would say, "It is none of your business." She said, "What god do you worship? Mind your own business." And when asked what was her favorite place to worship, she would say, "In the shower or inside the closet. At least there, no one is gaping or making you feel like a fool." The time naturally came to celebrate Melina's 8th birthday, and up until then, Melina had never had anything resembling a birthday party, and she did receive presents from her man in the prescribed depth. Though flattered, she claimed they were a bit late for her birthday, and a year ago she said they were too late. And her current regular was a middle-aged widower named Alexander, and he claimed to belong to the Unhau family branch. However, Melina knew that he belonged to the Vivar household, and that his true name was not Alexander. In any case, Melina played along to please her client, and pseudonyms were quite common in Melina's trade. And Alexander had decided to throw Melina a surprise party, and when it came to the resolution, Alexander set out to make all of the preparations. And before getting things in gear, he decided to ask Melina in a roundabout fashion all the things pertaining to her surprise birthday party. And Alexander found Melina in the hallways of the Danes Pavilion, and she was apparently playing a human chess game. And the peons were the servant girls, and she had 4 guards playing the role of knights, and the priests were 2 off-duty cooks, and the cooks were 4, the rooks were 4 fat courtesans, and the queens were Lucretia, Melina, and the kings were Baron and a handsome nobleman. Alexander waved at Melina and said, "Are you busy?" At that moment, Lucretia ate her. Sighing, Melina said, "Not anymore," because she lost the game of chess, because her opponent ate her, quote-unquote. Melina sat in a chair reserved for the pieces that had been captured, and the main battle of wit was being played by the 2 opposing knights, and Alexander sat beside her and asked, "How have you been? Have you been to any ballrooms as of late?" "Not really, and I find the proceedings ever so dry for an automaton, and one would think that these maidens would have gotten bored doing the same thing every time," said Melina, banging her heels against the floor. Kissing her hand, Alexander asked, "I don't bore you, my dear, do I? I will probably inform you the minute that you begin to bore me." And she added, how is you-know-who faring? How is you-know-who faring? "Couldn't be happier. I owe you my life, Melina," said Alexander, kissing Melina's ear. Lucretia said, "Hey, lovebirds, take it to another room." "You're right, let us be on our way." She then said to Franny, "Franny, dear, take my place as queen." And should the White Queen have the misfortune of being revived by a sacrificial pawn? "But Lady Melina, I do not know how to play the game," said Franny, taking Melina's seat. "You're fine, just do what Baron tells you and all will be well," said Melina, walking in hand with Alexander. And we're walking back to the room. Alexander asked, "And what sort of pastries do you like?" I don't need anything of this world, my dear Alexis," said Melina, chuckling. I know, but if you could eat, what sort of pastries would you like?" asked Alexander. I hear croissants with caramel taste delicious, and round cake is to die for. And I'll give you the recipe for them before you go," said Melina, smiling. Thank you, that would be lovely," said Alexander. Alexander returned a smile, and he still had perfectly white teeth, and Franny Melina said, "I think the bridge is a bit loose. I can patch it up for you before you leave." "You certainly do spoil me, and I think you would have done better as a healer than as a courtesan," said Alexander, opening the door to Melina's room. "Yes, but as a healer, I would only have been able to remedy the problem when it is too late, and in my position, I can make hygiene fashionable." "Leading by example, as the saying goes," said Melina, sitting on her bed. Alexander then went to lock the door behind him, and he also closed all of the curtains in the room. And sighing, Melina said, "You're no fun. And one should at least have a bit of privacy in one's room," said Alexander, frowning. "It is impossible for a person to ever truly be alone. There are eyes and ears always watching," said Melina, lying back in the bed. "Don't joke about that, Melina," said Alexander in a high-pitched voice. "I haven't got all day, and do you want the usual or something a bit more panache?" asked Melina, entering the closet. When Melina was inside the closet, Alexander stripped himself bare, and he sat down in the bed after nearly folding his attire. When he was done, he said, "I don't know, surprise me." And Melina came out carrying a gorgeous green dress with a white skirt, and she threw the undergarments of the dress at Alexander's face, who swiftly put them on. And after a bit of effort, Melina was able to put a corsage around Alexander's waist. And this was followed by the delicate underdress, and then finally Alexander was able to wear one of Melina's lovely green dresses. After the hard part, all that remained were the minor details, and Alexander rose to sit before Melina's mirror. And meanwhile, she was looking through her jewelry box to see which one would look better on her, Alexander. And while she did this, Alexander asked, "So what sort of music do you like?" "You know the classics like store dance, minuets, quadrines, the fandango, you know the words," explained Melina. "Fandango?" asked Alexander, raising an eyebrow. And they didn't jump to do it. Like she just got him to wear one of her pretty dresses, cause that's what was he in the mood for, to wear chic dresses away from like evil society's judgmental eyes, yeah. While still saying that he's being seen courtesan, so that people don't know what he's truly into, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like tap dancing contest, responded Melina, putting on a black ribbon around Alexander's neck. Ah, he added. We never had one of those, and I always assumed tap dances belonged to the realm of commoners. Just what you know, said Melina, putting on him golden bracelets on his chin, and she then removed the blue ribbon Alexander had around his hair to brush it, and Alexander's hair went low as his elbows, and it was the noble fashion of the day, and she tied it into a bud with a red ribbon whose strands fell over his shoulder. Done, said Melina. And Alexander stared at his reflection for some minutes, and after fixing his ribbon a bit, he said, wouldn't it look better with a bit of makeup? You know how I feel about makeup, Alexis, said Melina, pouting. It's my face, and I want to see how it looks with makeup, said Alexander, frowning. Fine, but I must warn you, I'm not very good at it, said Melina. And she brought out a chair, and she sat down, and Alexander turned around to have her put makeup on his face. I must warn you, I'm not good at making makeup. It's gonna look awful. He had his back to the mirror, and Melina's makeup bag was practically untouched, and he started by applying a large layer of white powder over Alexander's face, and this made him cough a little, and while she did, she said, you know what, you know what I would truly like for my birthday? A masquerade. With all the chaos and debauchery it implies, my dear. But there have been hundreds of masquerades in the palace, and you have not attended a single one, commented Alexander. Those were not true masquerade. Everyone sort of knew who everyone was, and what I want is a party with true anonymity. I am certain you can share my sentiments, said Melina. When his face was pale white, Melina started applying powder to his shoulders, and frowning, Alexander said, is that really necessary? Not really, but if you want me to apply makeup, then I will put the makeup on you, said Melina, laughing. Back on subject, what are you asking for is truly impossible. You know, like a true anonymous masquerade, where literally nobody knows who anyone is. No, it isn't, and I will have all of the guests come to the palace and have them change individually in different rooms, and we provide the costumes, and in this matter we will not see who is wearing each outfit, and the true trick will come from the mask. And it will be a simple task for a mage to enchant a mask in such a fashion as to masquerade a person's voice, and even go as far as changing their skin color. And with these minor changes, it will be impossible for the guests to tell each other apart. And add some wine for good measure, and you have a true masquerade, explained Melina. And she added the rouge. That could work, said Alexander, narrowing his eyes. Relax your face. I'm about to draw your eyes, said Melina. And she delineated his eyes with a thin black charcoal pencil, and then she added a bit of red powder at the end of the eyes, and a bit of under it, and lastly she painted his eyebrows red. Is it done? asked Alexander. Yes, now turn around, said Melina. When Alexander turned around, his face twisted into a grimace. He said, you weren't kidding when you said that makeup wasn't your field of expertise. Oh, boo, and I tried ever so very hard to please you, my dear Alexis, said Melina, hugging her friend. Time, bro?
10 minutes.
Alright, so we'll leave it here. This is the end of the chapter. Bye-bye, God bless.